All right. Good afternoon, everybody, peeps. My name is Joshua Edwards. I'm your host of the Shop Talk Quinny podcast. And today I have an incredible guest, business owner, entrepreneur, new mother, and her name is Jillian. Jillian, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Beautiful. Jillian, maybe for people that are watching this, because I know there's some hype around your business. Love what I'm seeing on social. Love the stuff that you guys are up to. But I want to hear it from you, and maybe give people the 401. Who is Jillian? Where are you from? What are you up to? And what does that look like right now?
Sure. Yeah. So I'm from the Sterling area. We moved there when I was about 4, and we stayed there ever since. I live in Sterling now with my hubby and my new daughter, as well as my parents and my many siblings. They live on the other side of our house. So it's a busy place where we're at. And all together, we run Barn and Country Catering, which is catering company. Well, we're not doing much catering right now. So right now we are running a food truck up in Belleville is our main focus at this point. And we do barbecue food. So lots of yummy stuff.
Wonderful. I love me some barbecue. So tell me a little bit about that. What was the inspiration behind this business? Because I love this industry. Summertime comes around, and me and my wife, we love going to the food truck, taking the kids there, that type of, but what birthed this idea? What made you guys want to go in this direction?
So I mentioned before that I come from a large family. I have 14 brothers and sisters, so there's lots of us. And mom and dad have always had the vision to be able to do a business together as a family, and just work together on that. So they've always kept their eye out for something that would work. And so 6 years ago, a catering company came up for sale. And so we talked it over as a family and wanted to see if this is something that we'd want to jump in together. And we decided to take the plunge. So we bought the catering company, and since then it's just morphed into lots of fun stuff.
Beautiful. So it was like something that you and your family could do together.
Yeah, exactly.
I love that. Very cool. So, and that's a big family, by the way. I'm half that. You said 14 brothers and sisters?
Yeah. There's 8 boys and 7 girls altogether.
Wow. That's incredible. So what was that like? Take me back there a little bit. Like, what was that growing up like growing up with so many siblings, big family dynamic. I come from a family of 7, so I guess I'm on the kind of the threshold of like the larger side as you go on, but 14 brothers and sisters, that's a lot. Like, how did you navigate that, and what was that like growing up?
Like, I loved it. All of my siblings and I get along really, really well. So it was just a lot of fun growing up. It was very, very busy. Like, there's always something going on. But it was great. We grew up in the country, so we had a little hobby farm with lots of different animals. And we spent so much time outdoors, just exploring and having a great time together. You definitely learn how to get along with a lot of different personalities. I'm sure, as you know, coming from a large family, everybody's a little different. You learn how to be comfortable with a lot of people in your space, because there's always somebody around.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. But overall, it was great. I wouldn't trade it for anything. It's the best.
That's wonderful, Jillian. I personally, I love the big family dynamic. There's so much that you learn through that, and in a lot of ways, I think it's really contributed to how my perspective, I guess I would say, in like the way I approach things, even in my life today with my own family. So I really appreciate you sharing on that. So talk talk to me a little bit. Like, I love the barbecue. I love the concept around, getting the family involved in the business. That's huge, and really speaks to, like, I would say, like, just the values that surround you. But, from a business perspective, like, what would you say are some values that really like stick out to you? Like, if I was to say, Jillian, what are like, 1 to 3 values that really stick out to you as I operate in business and life? What would your perspective be on that?
Yeah, I think, oh, like you said, I draw a lot from my experience coming from a large family because it really does shape who you are. So like teamwork is a huge one for me. Um,
Mm,
Everybody pitching in and getting the job done and relying on each other's strengths and supporting each other's weaknesses to just be a really well-rounded team. And hard work, like hard work is really important. You gotta keep going at it. And I would say just mom and dad always really pushed in us, or encouraged in us, just a standard of excellence in everything we do, that you don't do things halfway. You go for it all the way, and you put your best foot forward.
those are all amazing values. I love it. Hard work, quality of work. I love that. I love that. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah, it's to me, the values like that we have, it shapes everything that we output, as far as how we run our
Yeah.
business, how we treat our customers, how we treat our staff. Like, it all stems from that. So it's lovely to hear and see how you're acting that out in your business life, your personal life. That's really cool. So, and tell me, because you spoke a little bit earlier about, like, you had to pivot. So you were doing like the catering, in the catering space more so, and then you went to the barbecue, food truck. Am I on the right train here?
Yeah, we were primarily all catering before COVID hit. We were doing weddings, a lot of weddings, corporate events, backyard barbecues, all that kind of stuff. And then that just kind of came to a full stop, once COVID hit. So we didn't really have much of a choice but to figure something new out. Um, so we actually have these really great trailer units that we would take on site to events. And so we just modified and tweaked those to be able to operate as a food truck capacity. And we got those going. And it was a little nerve wracking because, like, that's something we hadn't done before. So it was lots of new logistics to figure out. And we weren't really sure what to expect, like how people were going to respond. Um, but it's gone pretty good so far.
That's awesome. I love how you mentioned that, you took some trailers and you kind of renovated them into like the kitchen space. I am actually sitting in a trailer right now. I'm actually sitting in my
No
bedroom.
way.
And yeah, my wife and I did something crazy. We downsized. We bought a trailer. We're in a park here for 6 months, and we completely gutted a trailer and renovated it. And now it's like our home space, summer home, if you will, for the next 6 months. So I love that. That's awesome.
Good for you guys. That's awesome.
Yeah, I was just wanting to do something different and kind of, have some neat experiences. You talk about family and that, and that's certainly something that's important to me, and it's something we've wanted to do for a little while. So it was time. It was time, and we did it. So out of curiosity then, so you were talking about the transition to, doing the food trucks. When the pandemic hit, like, tell me a little bit about, like, just your, like, how have things been for you? And you can answer from any lens you prefer to. It could be like from a mental health perspective, it could be from a business, it could be from a just life in general perspective. But like, how are you feeling in all of this?
Yeah, if we're honest, some days are definitely better than other days. It's it's still a struggle. Like we were set up to be catering huge events, or a lot of events during a year, and so losing all of that and then trying to recuperate has been a challenge. Um, so some days you feel like, all right, we're gaining ground, and then another announcement might come out with a lockdown continuing or things, and you just kind of like, all right, here we go again, dig our heels in a bit more and keep on going. So yeah, it's it's a bit of a roller coaster, I guess. You try to stay positive as much as you can and stay optimistic, but some days are better than others in that regard.
You know, I just want to say thank you so much for sharing that. There's, when I do these interviews, like one thing that really I really look for as far as like providing value to our listenership is sharing, having those honest conversations around, how people are really feeling during this time. And it's hitting, you hear the concept that we're all in the same storm, but we're all on different boats. Like
Yeah.
your boat might be different from my boat, etc. So, I think that I acknowledge and I appreciate you sharing your truth around that, because it is a difficult time for many people, and the roller coaster, as you alluded to, it's going up and down almost weekly. There's something different coming out. So I appreciate you sharing that. So in light of that, with that, I love that you guys went to the food truck idea. I think that was great. Tell me a little bit about the process that you went through in kind of deciding, you know what, let's do this. Let's pivot in this way. What kind of birthed the idea, and tell me a little bit about your process and how you had to come to that. Because I always say to people, like, there's a big mental shift that you have to do when it comes to pivoting your business. It's not just like a light that you can, flip on. Like, you have to be mentally there before you can even physically act on it. So tell me a little bit about your process and what that looked like for you, going into that decision making process.
Yeah, for sure. It's so true that it's not just like a flip that you can switch. Like when you're so used to doing in your space that that you're good at, that you've worked out all the kinks, and then to jump into something completely different, there's some fear and anxiety that comes along with that, and just like mental taxation and and all of that. Yeah, for us, we kind of realized that we were going to lose most of our summer, in probably mid-April of 2020, when we started really getting the cancellations and the rebookings from our clients. And then we actually had somebody come and, well, Direct Realty come and offer their space. And they said, hey, like, if you guys have a food truck that you want to come and set up at our space, we're more than willing to let you come and set up. And so we were like, hey, that's actually a pretty good idea. And we started talking about it and working out the logistics. And we were like, all right, well, let's dive in and see what happens. So it was a suggestion from them, which we really appreciated all their kindness.
Wow, that's awesome, and I really appreciate you sharing that. Like somebody that's going to listen to this, like, my hope is that they hear it and they're like, oh, okay, I'm not the only one who's like what do I do? What do I do? So I think that's super super valuable. Like I'm sure there was a lot of hard conversations that had to happen around, what do we do next? But coming into the now where you guys presently are, like, I'm looking at your brand from afar as a fan. I love what you guys are outputting. Tell me a little bit about kind of your headspace when it comes to like getting, showing up for your customers, showing up for your brand. Like I see your face on social, which like not everybody is comfortable to do that. But like for you, like is that something that has always been easy for you to do, get in front of the camera, talk about your brand, talk about what you have going on? Was that something that you kind of had to lean into as you are building this business? Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah. No, this is not something I'm super comfortable with. I don't like being in front of the camera that much. I get nervous. I feel self-conscious. But I just have to keep reminding myself that people are people and we all should be real, and like people aren't as judgmental as I am of myself. And so I definitely had to push myself in this area to get out there and be willing to talk about what we do and try to articulate it well. It's social media. I am like the worst young person with social media. I'm thankful for my sisters who can come in and teach me how Instagram works and how Facebook works, because I was clueless at the beginning and they're still teaching me about things. So yeah, that's definitely been a stretch for me.
Wow. I love your answer, Jillian, and I love it. Here's why. Because I think the majority of people that are going to watch this clip aren't going to assume that answer. I think they're going to assume the opposite. I think like, and based on what they've seen, right? Like you appear very comfortable in front of the camera. So I mean, kudos to you for that. But I think that's really going to help somebody that isn't comfortable, like you mentioned, because it's like, okay, if Jillian can do it, I could do it too. And by the way, like, what would you say to somebody that is in that boat? They are struggling. They are like, like I can't get over that fear. I can't get over that. Like, what would you say to somebody who's in that boat?
I guess, um, well, the thing I keep telling myself when I go in for like conversations like these, or when I meet with a client or things like that, I just say, just picture that this person is like your best friend and you're just sitting down to chat. And just, I try to get into the headspace where I'm taking all the pressure off of getting it perfect or trying to make a sale or something like that, and just relaxing and enjoying the conversation and treating it like you're sitting and chatting with your best friend or somebody I try to do that, and that helps me a bit to relax and just not take it so seriously.
That's beautiful. I really love that. That's super super helpful, I think, and something I think that we can all take in scenarios where we're not comfortable to do something, but we want to do it. We have to get there. So I really do appreciate you sharing on this. And Jillian, I got to touch on this because I think this is super super valuable for our listenership. You mentioned that you're a new mother, 3-month-old. We have kids that are around the same age, which I think is awesome. It's such a wonderful age, and we're super super thankful for our little one. But you talk about that, and you talk about running a business at the same time. I mean, the first word that comes to my mind, or words, is superwoman. That's the and by the way, I'm saying this as my wife is about maybe 10 feet from me in our trailer, and she's got our 3-month-old on her, and she's teaching a course as we speak. So tell me a little bit about that dynamic, being a new mom in the entrepreneurial space, running a business. How do you juggle all of that?
It's it's definitely a balancing act, because you don't want to take away time with your kid, especially at this point where they're just so little and they need you. And um, so I just, thankfully, she is on a pretty good schedule, so I can count on like 2-hour blocks while she's napping. But just learning to balance it, maximizing my time when I do have some time when she's sleeping, just like trying to get through as much of the checklist as I can. And I'm just leaning on others for support too. Like some of the responsibilities that I've had before, I've had to delegate over to other people because I just can't carry the same amount of workload as I had before I had Nora. It's just too much. So learning to delegate and leaning on the people around me who are there to support me, that's been huge. And that it's a little bit tough because I feel like I'm letting down my team when I have to give them more to do when their plates are already full. But my daughter has to come first.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't think you're letting anybody down. You said a word that really stuck out to me: delegate. That is one of my favorite words because it's a constant truth I come back to. As you know, if I'm not, if it's something where I could be utilizing time better in a different area, or if it's something I don't want to do, or it's something I'm not good at, delegate, delegate, delegate. That's probably one of my favorite words in my vocabulary when it comes to business, period.
Yeah.
Well, listen, Jillian, where can people get in touch with you? I want to be respectful of your time. Where can people get to know more about you and your business? Where can they go to find you?
Yeah. So if you want to follow us on social media, you can find us at Barn and Country Catering. It's our handle for both Facebook and Instagram. Or come by the truck in Belleville. We're just a couple minutes north of the Belleville Walmart, just on Highway 62. We'd love to meet you guys and have you try some of our barbecue food. Pretty good, in my opinion.
Beautiful, beautiful. We'd love to come out and visit you and taste that wonderful barbecue. I love me some barbecue, and so does my wife. So we'll come out and visit you.
Super.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Jillian. I really do appreciate the time, and thank you for sharing today. I think it's super, super brave of you, and I think some people are really gonna be encouraged by what you had to say today. So thank you for that.
Thanks, Josh.
Awesome. You take care. Have a good one.
You too. Bye.